clear up something real quick. Camper, you were saying that, go back to your socks. What order do you put your socks on?
Left, then right.
Left, then right. So if you were... Okay, real quick. Jake, why did you just freak out?
That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. I'll explain it later.
Hello and welcome to another edition of the Squad Life Podcast. I am Cody Lewis. I will be your guide through today's episode. I'm going to be trying to kind of direct the conversation. To my left is...
Brandon here, and did you know that there are more things that live on your skin than there are humans living on the earth?
It's kind of sick.
And to my left is...
What's up, guys? Camper here. Excited for this episode. I have been waiting literally all week to record this, so looking forward to it. To my left is...
It's spicy. What's up, guys? It's, week 8 now. I'm really excited to get going.
Nice. Yeah, good. It is week 8, and it's kind of hard to imagine. It seems like we just started all this stuff yesterday, basically.
It's growing so fast.
It is. It's like a baby.
Sure does.
Growing quick. So, Brandon, tell me about your week.
This week's been pretty good. We've been doing Vacation Bible School at our church. I was recruited to be Paul, which is the main character of our Vacation Bible School. Just a quick funny story about what happened this week. I was acting as Paul, and had another guy acting as a guard, and I'm all in costume. I've even grew out my facial hair a little bit, just trying to get the look of Paul, I guess, or at least the way I would imagine it.
Yeah, you're trying to move into the role.
Yeah, and I have a bunch of kids just there staring at me, and after we get done with the act, this little girl says, I'm pretty sure that Paul didn't wear Nikes back when he was in jail, and it just completely called me out. So I was like, yeah, you're right. And then the same little girl, we had this chain on my leg, and it was kind of falling off, and this was another day, and I had to ask the question, how could I escape? And she's like, well, the chain's already fallen off your foot, so I don't think it'd be that hard. She says this in front of all the kids, so I'm just like, I give up.
Boom, roasted.
But that's just been a brief summary of the interesting things that happen in my week.
Well, nice. One more day of VBS, right?
That's right.
Nice. Camper, how's it going in Montana?
It is going great. I have been outside for most of the week, in between golfing, and me and my family actually went out for a couple of hikes this past week, so really exciting. I actually have shot in the 3 or 4 weeks I've been up here, I've shot in the 80s 4 times, so that's really exciting. My swing's starting to come around, but
wow, nice.
Like something like 4 or 5 birdies too, but hopefully I can get that number up and bring my total score down. But other than that, the hiking part has probably been my favorite. I did 2 hikes. Let's see, I did one on Father's Day on Sunday, and then I went by myself on Tuesday. The one that I went with my family on Sunday, we went up an already established trail. I think we did about a 7.5 round trip hike up to the top of the mountain ridge that's by my house. It's also happens to be the Continental Divide. So that was fun. But I think that the most fun that I've had in years actually was my second hike, the one I did on Tuesday, where I went up the same mountain ridge, a different part of it though, by myself with no hiking trail. I just went up, and it was, like I said, the most fun I've had in years. It was so fun. I was a little paranoid though. I was looking for rattlesnakes. I was even had an ear out for larger animals such as deer or bears or other large animals, but thankfully didn't run into anything, didn't die, so that was fun. Spicy, how's your week been?
It's been pretty good. It's been wet. The last couple of weeks have been, if you live down here in the south, and Camper, I know you're in Montana right now, we talked about it briefly before we started recording, but I think it's rained literally at some point in the day, every day for like the last 2 weeks. So the ground is beyond
It
soft.
is saturated.
But my week's been just a regular week. Work as usual. My fiance's out of town, so I've been just chilling by myself, studying up for my test I got to take hopefully next week.
And,
so that, yeah,
and
that's been
what
my
test
week.
is that?
Home inspection exam. Or home
Okay, and
inspection.
once you take it and hopefully, I guess, pass it, what next? I mean, you will be a certified home inspector?
I'll be a licensed home inspector. I'm certified now, but I'm not quote-unquote legal to do a home inspection for myself. Like, I could work for a home inspector, but I can't run my own business. So after I pass this test, I can start my business.
Well, nice. Well, good luck.
Yeah. Thank you. So yeah, that's pretty much been my week. How's your week been, Cody?
Well, Jake Lee, my week has been full of studying, and actually this whole summer, the past 4 weeks has been full of studying because with the PT program at the University of Mississippi Medical Center, to stay on top of things and actually just to tread water, not even like functionally swim, to tread water, you have to study every day, and it's been crazy. We had our first major test in anatomy yesterday, which was Wednesday, and we had our first lab practical today, which is Thursday. So the rest of the week should be pretty easy. Not going to do any studying really, but my week has been hectic and very tiring. Very tiring. Coffee has been my best friend. All right, so we're just going to jump right into our main topics, and I think Jake Spicy White Lee is going to start us off with the first one.
This is actually something I heard some people talking about the other day that really grabbed my attention. So and kind of, I feel like it'll be intriguing to all of us here. They were talking about the fact that in the NFL, for the last decade or more, you've had these long tenured quarterbacks that have been successful and won Super Bowls, and Tom Brady obviously comes to mind, Peyton Manning, Drew Brees, and then there's Ben Roethlisberger, obviously. Guys like Phillip Rivers comes to mind. I think there's a couple more guys out there I'm probably leaving out, but they were talking about how these guys are starting to get older with age, and it was one thing that really grabbed my attention today is the fact that Derek Carr of the Oakland Raiders signed a big contract today. This is Thursday. I don't know if y'all saw that. 5 years for $125 million, I think, making him the highest paid quarterback in history, and he's making more money than Tom Brady, who's fresh off a Super Bowl. But I just wanted to talk for a minute here about how you're starting to see, it seems like, my whole life, the only people I remember are those guys that I was just talking about. Those are the guys that I'll look back at on my childhood as those were the quarterbacks. But the highest paid quarterbacks right now, Derek Carr, in this order: Derek Carr, Andrew Luck, Carson Palmer, Drew Brees, and Kirk Cousins, which Cousins is obviously just a 1-year deal. But as you start to see these older guys start phasing out, because Tom Brady eventually is gonna start, age is eventually gonna catch up to him, you would think. Peyton Manning obviously stepped out after last season. Drew Brees, you would have to think, is fixing to be on his way out the door. Roethlisberger is getting on up there. Phillip Rivers is getting up there. Everybody, all these guys are starting to get up there. So my question to y'all, all three of y'all, whoever wants to answer first, do you think, and if you do, who do you think will be the next superstar quarterback of these young guys? A lot of people thought it would be Cam Newton after a couple of years ago with the season he had with Carolina. He obviously took a big step back since they played in the Super Bowl versus Denver a couple of years ago. But if and when, do you think it's going to be one of these younger guys that I named? Is it going to be Andrew Luck? Is it going to be Derek Carr? Derek Carr, a lot of people are saying he doesn't deserve the big payday that he got today, but he's obviously a huge part to Oakland. He's got them playing at a high level and competing, pretty close to. Did they play in the AFC Championship this year?
The Raiders are AFC.
Or was it division?
And
I can't remember.
they lost they had a bye, but they lost their first game because he was injured.
Yeah, that's right. So he's obviously got Oakland performing at a high level the last couple of years, and they're signed Marshawn Lynch this season. But who do you think the next not necessarily Tom Brady or Peyton Manning, because those are going to be absolute legends, but who do you think the next Drew Brees or Ben Roethlisberger, who are these young guys are going to be the guys that 10, 15 years from now we'll be looking back on saying, that those are elite quarterbacks of this era?
I also read about, Carr signing that big deal. I got to think that they see something in him. I don't really know who's going to be the next, big quarterback but I think Carr has some talent. If taking him out of the equation in the playoffs, it'd been interesting to see if he was healthy, just how far they would go, and that kills me just because they're in our division. So, being a Broncos fan, but there's a lot of possibility. I mean, the thing about it is you look at the quarterbacks that have had a lot of successful. Maybe taking Peyton Manning out of the equation, they're not usually big bust out stars in college. They don't usually go to the huge programs, but it's going to be interesting because you're right. A lot of these big quarterbacks are, they're going to eventually retire. I still think Roethlisberger's got another year or two, and I think that if you ask Tom Brady, he says he's got 5. So he's in the prime of his career apparently. You just never know. It's one of those things that you can say that teams that are putting a lot of money in quarterbacks like Kirk Cousins and Andrew Luck and Derek Carr, you hope that they're not wasting their money on that, and they're eventually that they could be the rising stars of the NFL. But it's so hard to say, well, this quarterback's going to be the next Peyton Manning, or this quarterback's going to be the next great. That's just my pick. Camper may have something different.
Boy, I have a lot of thoughts surrounding the Derek Carr signing. First off, I do think that he deserves that from the Raiders because he is a young star that has proven himself to be capable of putting up great stats. So I like the move as far as the Raiders go. As far as the younger guys moving forward in a league that will very soon be without those legends that you guys have mentioned, I can't really think of any standouts now. I mean, we have 1 year of Carson Wentz. I think he'll be pretty good. We had really one good year from Derek Carr this year. We had one great year from Cam Newton last year, but then he busted this past season, and he's in a really tough division. I think Jameis Winston is on the rise. He's got a lot of tools around him in Tampa Bay. There's a lot of young guys that we're going to hear about for a long time because you think about guys like Drew Brees, or I think Tom Brady also didn't start when he entered the league. I mean, there's a lot of young guys that just get the starting position simply because of how high they were drafted. I think Derek Carr is in the best position currently to rise the fastest, but remember guys like Matt Ryan, who a lot of people consider elite. He's really only had one good postseason run, though. But also guys like Drew Brees and Tom Brady, who didn't start when they entered the league, but they rose much higher as the years progressed. So I'm excited to see these young guys become even better.
And don't forget about Dak.
Yes, true.
One thing, this is just one reason. The main reason this is such an interesting topic to me is because, I kind of hinted at it earlier. These guys are the guys, these older quarterbacks, these are the guys that I'm going to remember. I feel like they've played my whole life, which they haven't, but, Peyton Manning played pretty much my whole life. Tom Brady's been in the NFL for the majority of my life. Drew Brees has been playing for a long time, but, thinking back when I was a kid and really started enjoying football, these are the guys that I just always remember them playing. There hasn't been a time, so it's really weird. Already not having Peyton Manning in the league, but it's just strange to me that 5 years from now, probably less. All of those guys that we were talking about aren't going to be playing anymore in the NFL, and it's just going to be very strange to know that there's going to be a whole new generation of these young quarterbacks that will be those guys. They will be the elite quarterbacks of the era, but they're not there yet. The guys that come to my mind, Andrew Luck, I think definitely has the opportunity, but he hasn't had a team around him. And he's been in the NFL for I think 4 or 5 years now, and just hasn't had much help there. And then you have guys like Dak that gets drafted and really isn't supposed to play immediately, but gets thrown into an opportunity, and he thrived in that situation. But he has a very, very good team around him, very talented. He's got a great running back around him. He's got the best offensive line in the game. He's got several good receivers, that any quarterback would love to have on their team, and he's got a handful of them. There's him. There's obviously Derek Carr, like Brandon said, Deshaun Watson. Is obviously very smart, very talented. We'll have to see how he transitions into the NFL. But this was just something that was intriguing to me. I wanted to get y'all's take, and unless Cody, you've got anything to add, that's pretty much all I had to say about this one.
Yeah, I'm just gonna be honest to go on the record that I find it hard to follow sports. I like sports, I play sports, but as far as keeping up with it, it is very difficult for me. So I do not have an answer to that. But if I had to pull something out of the air, I would say that all of the great quarterbacks that you have named thus far, the ones that are a little older, I guess relatively close to retirement, they had to start somewhere.
Yeah.
Right. So all the guys, all the new up and comers, this is their foundation. Yeah. This is when they prove themselves, basically.
Right.
So, that's all I got to say to that, basically.
And it's kind of weird to me. It just seems like it's happening all of a sudden. I wasn't really prepared for it to happen, but not that the NFL cares about me.
But it's taken you completely by surprise, hasn't it?
It has. I wasn't ready for this day, but here it is. But that's really all I got. So, Cody?
All right. Well, thank you for bringing that to the table. So this next topic will be brought to you by yours truly. All right, and I've asked my fellow bros here to think of certain superstitions or rituals that they have engaged in the past. And but before we get into those, the definition of a superstition, if you've ever wondered, is a widely held but unjustified belief in supernatural causation leading to certain consequences of an action or event, or a practice based on such a belief. Right, so we're all familiar with superstitions, even from childhood. So y'all help me finish this sentence. If you step on a crack,
break your mama's
Chewbacca.
back.
Right, Brandon. No, I'm kidding. Jake, yeah. So you step on a crack, you break your mama's back. I mean, that was something that we always said as children in elementary school, in middle school, and to those of you out there who did step on a crack just to see if this cliche superstition was true, just to see if it was true, shame on you.
Yeah, that's terrible.
Why would you want to do?
You know what, Cody?
Why would
Lewis,
you
don't
want to
even
do that
act
to
like
your
you
mother?
did. You're telling me you did not once step on a crack during all of that.
Not on purpose to see if it was true.
Cody, you never did that.
No, not that I can remember.
Okay. I'll take
I've
that.
never. Let me go on the record because I'm sure my mother will listen to this. I promise you, I never deliberately stepped on a crack. If that thought came to my mind, I never stepped on a crack.
Right. So, like, if you were to go back and look at all of us in grade school, we were probably jumping over all kind of cracks. And but Camper, you're shaking your head. Like, were you one of the ones that stepped on a crack on purpose?
I just
to see if it was true.
I just played my percentages, man. I said these two things cannot be related, and I stepped on all the cracks that I needed to.
Same here.
terrible.
Same here. I was the one that's what I'm saying. Like,
So you had that rational.
Yeah.
You had that rational thought as a fourth grader.
Oh yeah, easy.
I had that rational thought as a kindergartner. It's just,
I was so concerned that I would break my mother's back that I, in my finite and like still developing brain, a crack was the most dangerous thing ever to step on.
you should be scared of much more things than that.
Crack is scary.
I think I remember knowing that it wasn't gonna really break my mom's back, but
But
I
just
was
in case,
not gonna test the theory.
right,
I did
exactly.
not want to put it to the test.
Right. I think all of us knew. Everybody knows that. You can't just step on a crack outside and it's gonna affect your mother miles away. But just in case it was true, I wasn't gonna step on a crack. But so there's other superstitions that we're familiar with, right? So it's bad luck to walk under a ladder, bad luck to break a mirror, bad luck if a black cat crosses your path. So these things that we've heard from childhood, that for some reason or another, people associate these things with bad luck, or there are certain things that people do that they think bring them good luck, and this will be a good segue into hopefully y'all have some good superstitions or good rituals that y'all have done in the past. So I'm gonna let Brandon talk about his here for a few minutes.
To quote Michael Scott, I'm not superstitious, but I am a little.
I knew
stitious.
someone would quote that.
Can I say that I'm really upset that I wasn't able to go first because I really wanted to say that.
We got to keep the order, bud. We got to keep the order.
Yeah.
I wasn't gonna say it.
And the reason why I said that quote is because I actually associate with that quote very much. I've never been one to really give in to superstitions, and if I was, I'd be doomed because my most of the numbers that I had in sports was 13. I started dating Debbie, my wife, on the 13th of September. We got married on the 13th of April. So, 13's been with me forever. So, if I was superstitious, I'd be in bad shape.
You'd be screwed.
That being said, there are some stuff that I wouldn't consider being superstitious, but rather just kind of develop the routine. Like, for any race that I do, I've done a bunch of 5Ks. I've done a half marathon. I've done a 10K. Anytime I've done a race, I race for something or someone. And I usually put the name on the opposite side of my number. And I feel like if I don't do that I won't perform as well. Like, for an example, the half marathon that you did with me, Cody.
Yeah.
I wrote my dad's name on the back of that, who I lost, who passed away the year before that. For my first 5K, I wrote my mom's name. And, just each time I do a race, I usually put a name on it. So, there's some stuff that I do because it's kind of been a routine. Like in football, we would, touch the top of the field house when we walked out to go play. We would always wear black socks on our first home game. We'd black out. They're just kind of routine things. I wouldn't ever consider it. There is one superstition that I am kind of weary about that I'm like, don't do that. And that's breaking a mirror. I don't know why. Just even if there's no like bad luck, it's just like don't be that guy. Like don't break a mirror.
Well, they're useful. So why would you want to break it? Like they help.
Like I'm afraid that like you're breaking this dimension somehow, or you're
a portal.
You're messing with it's like the space-time continuum.
Yes.
Is going to be destroyed if you break a mirror.
Wow, I've never thought about it that way before, but that's a good point. That's a really good point. Camper, what you got, man?
Okay, I got a few parts to this answer, so pay attention. First off, those very basic superstitions that you had mentioned while you were introducing the topic, as far as a ladder or a mirror, or I think there's even salt or something. I don't know. First off, the idea of a superstition in that aspect, those things are just things that you shouldn't be doing. Like to me, that's not a superstition. That's just good advice. Don't walk underneath the ladder. Please don't break a mirror. You might hurt yourself.
Okay, well, hey, how about the black cat? Like, why shouldn't you do that? Why shouldn't you let a black cat cross your path?
You shouldn't let a cat cross your path, period. It's a cat.
Well, you can't control what a cat does.
Well, you can kick it.
Well, yeah, but then you get like the ASPCA called on you.
I can't speak for the black cat. I can, however, speak for my attitude towards cats, and I think we made that clear a few episodes ago.
Right.
But to answer your question in full, I want to separate two things, and I think Brandon kind of did this, but I think his were more along the lines of superstition. So, but first off, I want to separate superstition from OCD. I think we all have some level of OCD, and that could kind of transcend into our routines or our habits or just how we do things. So, like for me, I always have to put on my left sock and then my right sock. Same with my shoes. If that goes out of order, I'm not being tested. I'm not going to see, what's going to happen if I don't do that. It's just how I do things. So that to me, that's not superstitious because I'm not trying to prevent something. That's just how I do things. However, I do have some superstitions, but they are all associated with sports. And I'm sorry, if I meet a girl down the road and she happens to go back listening to the show, she's going to be freaked out and weirded out by this anyway. but she'll probably experience it anyway. So, one recent example, the Golden State Warriors won the NBA championship like a lot of people expected them to. And a lot of people were rooting for them not to. But they did. They beat the Cleveland Cavaliers in 5 games, which means they won the series 4-1. They won the 12 previous games before that, so total in the playoffs they were 16-1. And after the first game in the entire postseason, I've got a Warriors jersey, a Steph Curry jersey, and I'm looking to buy more so that I'm not just some sellout fan, but they're kind of expensive, so I'm limited to one right now. And I wear it for every jersey, for every game that's on TV. I wore it for that first game, and they won. They played the Trailblazers, and it's usually hanging up in my closet, but I was way too lazy that night. I think it was late, and I just threw it over my closet door, and then I put it on for game 2. Well, when they won game 2, I said, I've got an option here now. Do I hang it up or do I put it over the closet door? Because if I drape it over the closet door, I did that between games 1 and 2. They won game 2. I'm going to go ahead and do that. See, that's the kind of superstition that I have. And I left it hanging over my closet door in my house down there in Meridian, and then I brought it up to Montana with me, and as soon as I unpacked it, I draped it over the closet door here in my room, and it's there right now. I'm actually looking at it right now. But they ended up losing one game, the 16th game that they played in the postseason. So you could tell that it's not 100% foolproof, but I like my odds, So that's the kind of superstition that I have. I'm not real crazy, like if I wear a certain pair of underwear and my team wins, I've got to wear that pair of underwear or stuff like that, But it's the little things that do get me. So I am a little stitious.
I got you, Spicy. Before we move on to you, I just want to clear up something real quick. Camper, you were saying that go back to your socks. What order do you put your socks on?
Left, then right.
Left, then right. So if you were... Okay, real quick. Jake, why did you just freak out?
That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. I'll explain it later.
Okay, so left, then right. So would you feel like your day could not go normally if you were to go right, then left?
It could. But as I explained before, it's just how I do things. It's how I do it every day.
So then that would be technically a superstition.
Yeah, possibly. But
okay. Just wanted to clarify because I think you had stated that you don't, that's just like you said, that's just how you do things. But if you feel like if you did right then left, your day could possibly be less exciting or less productive than left than right. I would say that's a superstition.
I mean, maybe so. It certainly would be forgotten within a matter of seconds. But
but if something bad happened that day, you would go back to that moment
I would
when you
not
put your right sock on before your left sock.
I would not blame that moment. I would blame myself and my stupidity.
Okay. Well, Jake, moving on to you.
Okay, so a couple things to add here. With the black cat thing, it's probably because my family has lived here in Mississippi and Alabama for the last 200 years. But so the reason that made my ancestors superstitious, because that's a big thing down here. But apparently, I've had my grandma tell me this multiple times. Even her dad and her mom, if they had a black cat run across the road in front of them, they would turn around and like go. Like if they were almost home, they would just turn around and go another way.
Really?
To get home.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
And I had a really weird experience with that one time. I had a black cat run in front of me. I had been driving for a couple years, and it was the first time a black cat had run in front of me. And I was like, oh boy, this is. it's kind of weird. I was like, I'm not gonna turn around because I'm not superstitious. But then I get around the curve, and I see blue lights and everything, and a car stopped, and I get up there, and this car is flipped over on its roof on the road that I live on.
Wow.
Which nope, I've never seen a wreck there in this spot my whole life, except for this one time. So I was like, that's a very strange coincidence.
Did you feel the need to stop and pull over and say, I'm so sorry, there was a black cat, I didn't turn around, that's my fault?
yeah, I should have, but no, I just turned around and went another way home. But here's my I'm not a very superstitious person. I really don't think that whether or not, like Camper said, you put a shirt a certain way or you wear it, whatever. I don't think that has an effect on the outcome of a sporting event or whatever.
It
but
does.
Being the baseball fan that I am, I'm obviously going to go along with the superstition. And I always, it started when I was playing baseball, but it's carried over into, everyday life now. Right sock, then left sock. And then you go right shoe, then
I'm
left
glad you
shoe.
keep it the same, but you're wrong.
Then you tie right shoe, then left shoe, or right cleat, then left cleat, whichever you're wearing. That's how I always did it. And I would by the time I got older in my baseball career, I would go long pants until we lost, and then when we lose, I'd go short pants until we won again. And then I haven't ever really been a superstitious person. I've got a cowbell though that my first cowbell me and my dad made, and it ended up cracking, so it doesn't sound good anymore. But the cowbell I've been using currently has never been to a game that Mississippi State lost, and it's been to quite a few.
Well, you obviously don't take it to. You obviously really don't believe in that superstition because you don't take it to every game. So, and State loses a lot.
Well, the first year I had it was 2014. So obviously that was a good year. We won. I think we didn't even lose a home game.
Did you go to the SEC championship?
No, we missed it by 2 games.
Okay, yeah, that's successful. I guess we measure success different ways. Well, Texas has been to a national championship, 2009. They won it in 2005. So yeah, that's a lot more than what Mississippi State has done. So, quiet down, girl.
But anyway, I'm not going to get into that right now. That's not the point. But anyway, 2014, they didn't lose a single home game, and I went to every home game. 15, the games I went to didn't lose, and then this last season I only went to 2 games. And one of them was South Carolina, and then one of them was against Texas A&M, which ended up not being very good, but they were ranked number 4 at the time, and they beat them, which was a pretty big deal. So, every time Mississippi State loses, I just have this thought in the back of my mind. I'm like, should have been there with my cowbell, because things would have gone differently.
Because it is supernaturally powerful.
Apparently it is. I'm starting to wonder a little bit. I take good care of it.
I got you. So, is that it? Anything else?
I think that's it.
Okay. Well, I will admit that in the past I have engaged in rituals that could be considered superstitious, and nothing. When I say ritual, not like sacrifice or anything. I need to clarify that. That sounded kind of weird. I'm just gonna go ahead and okay. For example, in high school, I was in the marching band on the drum line. I said drum line.
With a D?
Yeah, I'm gonna say that again.
It was past tense.
Yeah, that was weird.
They used to be a drum line.
They were lined up.
All right, here we go. So in high school, I was in the marching band, and more specifically, I played on the drum line. Before each game, whether it be home or away, we would do this little thing where we would hold our drumsticks in our right hand. The sticks would be parallel to each other, but like the tips would be facing in opposite direction, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
So you could easily like pull them out apart and start drumming. We would hold our sticks in our right hand, tips facing the opposite direction, and we would go in like we're going to give each other a knuckle touch, but then we would rotate our hand like up. So I can show y'all, the listeners won't be able to see this, but so you go in like this, and you just rotate like that.
Okay.
Right? So we
like
call
you're
this
locking?
process locking up. Okay, so before we would go onto the field, we would say, all right, lock up, lock up. And we thought that if we didn't do this, we wouldn't perform well.
Just real quick, this is baseball.
No, this is
Right.
band. This is band.
Oh, okay.
This
Oh,
is
for some
marching
reason.
band. No,
Okay,
see,
because I was about to rip you with baseball. I was about to say, didn't you tear your ACL in baseball?
yeah, why you got to bring that up, man? Why you got to bring that up? No, in baseball, I wasn't really superstitious. I didn't
Well, what's
really
the
have,
difference between having a superstition in band and having a superstition in baseball? Like, why did you need one for band?
I wasn't superstitious with baseball.
I feel like it should be the opposite. Like, baseball is like probably the sport that has the most superstition
Easily.
involved in it.
Not only that, but like if you play a note bad in band, just keep playing. It's not like somebody's gonna lose. But like in baseball, if you do something bad in baseball, you can lose.
I just didn't really have I saw other guys, they would get up to the batter's box and unvelcro and then revelcro their gloves, like their batting gloves, like multiple times. Yeah, they would spit and rub it together, or So I mean, this little stuff like that I did, but I was more superstitious with band, and that just became a tradition that we would do this locking up process. But we really thought that if we didn't lock up, we thought that we would not play as well. And also go ahead. Sorry.
When you're saying we would not play as well, are you referring to the drum line
The drum line.
the football
The drum
team?
line.
Okay.
Yeah, we wouldn't perform as well. How about that? And one more superstition that I have, it happened this week actually. So like I said at the beginning, we took our anatomy exam yesterday and our lab practical today, right? So Tuesday, on our last lab period before the practical today, I was wearing a different pair of shoes than I would normally go in with, because the ones I normally wear were soaking wet from the rain Monday, right? So Tuesday is our last day to get to, basically learn everything. And I walked out of lab feeling really good Tuesday. So what did I do today? I wore those shoes that I wore Tuesday. Because I thought they were like the shoes on, like Mike, and had some kind of power and would
Yes.
make me remember what I learned in lab.
It's a great movie.
It is.
Yes, it is.
Right? So we are all familiar with superstitions. We've all kind of been there, whether we want to admit it or not. So, I think they are everywhere in this world, and for some reason we just put way too much belief in these things that don't really have any sway over events or outcomes, right? So that's all I have for that. All right, so that rounds out our main topics. We're going to move into the individual segments now, and I do believe, Brandon, do you have our first one?
I do have our first one, and because Camper is a whiny baby and he always talks about things that he hates or that he doesn't like, I decided that I was going to try to find something that I like that y'all probably might not. I don't know, y'all might. I've never asked y'all this question before, and once I tell you what it is, you'll probably know why.
Ooh.
One thing that I've learned to love, and that my love for it has really been exposed to me lately, is my love for a cold shower. Like, I like taking cold showers. Not all the time. And granted, I have to have done something that day to make me, like, I'm not just going to wake up and be like, man, I want a cold shower. But if I get done running or working out or cutting grass or something, like, I want to take a cold shower.
I'm gonna have to say that I've had the thought before when I wasn't, I did get done cutting grass or I've been working hard, where I would think to myself, I'm gonna take a cold shower. That's gonna feel really good. But then when I get ready to get in the shower, I'm just like, nah.
So you're telling me when you're hot,
shower.
like when you get done working and you're hot, you just want to add more hotness to it? Like, that makes no sense to me.
I can't
Like,
explain it.
I've tried. Like, I've worked out and I've taken a hot shower and I've almost passed out. Like, because I don't know what it is. Like, I just don't. It's so hot. I get so hot.
How hot is your shower?
I don't.
There's different degrees of hotness.
Are you trying to get it as hot or so hot to burn your epidermis off? Like,
No. I'm trying to not do that. That's why I like it cold.
no, like when you take a hot shower and you almost pass out.
Okay.
Okay. Brandon,
real quick. Just to justify, I'm not saying that I'd take it freezing cold. I'm saying that it's cool. Calm your tits, Camper.
I was asking for clarification for the audience, but thank you. Okay, so when you say cold, please elaborate don't just say not freezing cold. Like, if the lever thing, the nozzle, I don't know what it's called, if it would be at the middle, like 50% hot, 50% cold, is that what you determine a cold shower, or what's a percentage?
Like,
here's a good.
I would have it. I think he put it good, Jake.
Well, I was gonna say, like, if you went to the water faucet where your water hose is it warmer or colder than that?
A little warmer, but not much. I would say that it's like, if this is the middle and this way is cold and this way is hot, I would say that I'm like right here.
So for
I'm
those
halfway in the cold.
So 75% cold, 25% hot.
Yeah.
So still cooler than lukewarm.
Yeah. And I want to challenge y'all this week to try that, but make sure that you've done something that day. So, Camper, whenever you go on one of your mystical hikes, go take a cold shower. Cody, whenever you get done working out, go take a cold shower. Jake, just whenever you get done doing your carpentry, go take a cold shower. Just try it.
Well, see, I'm with Jake on this. Like, after a workout, Brandon, or after working outside, I've had the thought, man, a cold shower would feel really good now. But I want a warm shower to wash off all the yuckiness.
Yes.
Right?
Right.
Because warm water is supposed to be better at fighting all that crap than cool water. So
if you scrub good, Cody, I think any kind of water will do it. But I mean, if you're just brazing over it, then yeah, take a warm shower. I'm concerned for you. But if you're actually doing what you're supposed to do and scrub, then I don't think it matters.
See, now after I don't know, after maybe staying up all night studying or something in the mornings, I will kind of let the water get a little cooler to help wake me up. But as far as, if I had the choice, I'm going to take a warm shower over a less than warm, lukewarm shower.
Well, that's pretty much rounding it up. I just wanted to see what y'all thought. Just real quick, if I take a cold shower in the morning, I just get ticked off. That's like me taking a nap. But anyway, that's just what I guess I'm alone on that, but I like those. So.
Well, sweet. Jake, what you got for your individual segment?
Okay, so I had something happen this week that made me think about all four of us here. not going to do sports this week. I would usually, say something sports related here, but this was just too good, in my opinion, to pass up. Brandon tagged us in Facebook. I can't remember what day it was. I think it was Wednesday. He tagged us on Facebook in a trailer for Annabelle 2. Annabelle 2, if you don't know, is a horror movie. Brandon and Cody and myself love horror movies. I'm a little different because I do get scared. I'll be honest with you. Like I cover my eyes the majority of the movie, but I love it for some reason. I don't know what it is. I just enjoy it.
So Jake likes looking at the back of his hands, not watching the movie, but
well I watch
or looking at the palm of his hands.
The little
It's
bitty
like a little
crack.
girl.
Well, no. Anyway, and Camper hates him, but that. We'll get into that some.
Well, at least
later
Camper
date.
watches it like a man. Like at least Camper doesn't put his hands.
That's
in
not
his
the
face.
point of this topic. The point of this topic is that very same night, I could not sleep. It wasn't related to that trailer, but I just woke up.
Sure.
I don't know what it was. I couldn't sleep, and I tossed and turned for like an hour, and then finally I was like, I'm not going to sleep anytime soon. So I pulled out my phone and I started playing this game I've been playing. I can't remember what it's called, but you know how advertisements are. They always pop up, and there's these on a game. With this game anyway, it's always some other game, and I've played this game 100 times. It's been another stupid game. I've got to watch 30 seconds of it before I can play my game again. Anyway.
Those are the worst.
I know it is. I hate it. Anyway, so
You can't skip them.
Nope.
First world
That's-
probs.
anyway, so I'm sitting there. I'm laying in the bed, watching. Or I'm playing this game. I've been playing the game for probably 30 minutes. I've seen probably 20 advertisements. They've all been games. And then, I on my game I die or whatever, and I had to start over. Well, it goes to the advertisement, and what pops up? Annabelle's face. Covering my whole screen at 2 o'clock in the morning. Pitch black dark. I'm laying in the bed, and I did jump a little bit. I was slightly.
Did you throw your phone?
No, I didn't. I wanted to. I think I almost locked up. I was like, oh, what's happening? And I immediately closed the app. Like, I was like, double click, swipe up. I wasn't doing that.
I can only picture you doing that because this is the same guy who literally jumped into my arms when we were playing a scary game, the Slender Man game. He was in a chair and I was on the ground, and he literally jumped to me for protection. So I can picture that.
I kind of wish I had been a fly on the wall because it was so quick. I felt like it was 10 seconds. I was just looking in the eyes of Annabelle, but it was so quick. As soon as she popped up, I was like, nope, don't want that.
It could have been worse. It could have been the nun.
Oh no, I would have lost my mind probably, but anyway, that I felt like
Run.
that was too good to just not share.
Yeah.
Oh no, don't. That was too good to not share with y'all. So, that was my individual topic for this week. But I thought that was funny and just an absolutely horrifying experience.
Well, I think in that moment, I probably would have thrown my phone and just picked it up the next morning when I woke up, like, and with the hopes that Annabelle's face would not be on the screen anymore. So I'm gonna bring my individual topic now. So in this week's installment of Awkward Cody, I believe I've talked about it in the past, the palpation part of lab, right? So just a brief reminder about what that was. Palpation means like, when a therapist or a doctor touches on your body to find a bony structure underneath the skin or a muscle belly, something like that, right? So in preparation for this week's lab practical, which on the lab practical we had 2 palpation questions. So we would draw an index card or 2 index cards. One was a bone, one was a muscle. All right, so it was our job to then locate the muscle or bone on the. It was an assistant professor in anatomy, so we had to find it on him. Luckily, it wasn't a edit that out. So this Monday, in preparation for the lab practical, me and a group of folks went up into a room to practice palpations to hopefully, make the process of finding it on basically the test subject easier, right? Mm-hmm. So we all get up into this room, and lo and behold, I'm the only male there. This is only the 4th week of school, and I'm still not comfortable with everybody yet. So I'm not just going to go up, and I'm not going to go. And it was like maybe 4 or 5 females in there. So I'm just sitting there like, man, I'm thinking to myself, man, I hope another male shows up so I can touch on him rather than a female.
I bet that's what you were thinking.
Well, so, it's just awkward trying to. I don't know. Like I said, we've only been in school 4 weeks, so I'm not comfortable with yet. Touching on a female, trying to find like a. One of the muscles that we were required to practice finding was the pectoralis major, right? So your pec muscle there, right on the front of the chest. Yeah, I'm not gonna go up to a female and be like, all right, let me try to find your pectoralis major muscle real quick.
That's what you say on a wedding night.
Right. That's not what you say on the first date. So Camper, you and I need to remember that.
Wait. I'm taking notes. What don't we say?
Do not ask to feel her pectoralis major.
She can ask you, but you can't ask her.
Yeah, right. Maybe ask to find her deltoid, her shoulder muscle, but not the chest muscle.
But it is important to note that Cody has had practice feeling the pectoral of the pec of another man. So you're getting practice in for whenever you do get married.
Yeah, wow. Yeah. Oh, like I'll touch on a guy all day.
Oh my god.
But no, it was just me and like 4 or 5 other girls in this room, and I just sat there the whole time. Like, I contributed to a little bit. Like, oh yeah, to find this muscle, you have to do this, or to find this bone, you go here, then here. But I didn't like participate really. I was like I said the whole time I was thinking, man, I wish another guy would show up, and he never came.
That's what she said.
So
Thank you.
That was a major setup, wasn't it? Anyway, we did end up getting to, so the guy that was in the practical that we had to palpate, he led like a practice session yesterday. So we did get to practice palpating him yesterday. But the day that I was in the room with a bunch of females, I didn't want to leave and make it obvious that I didn't want to participate, but I didn't want to just kind of sit there awkwardly staring at the girls without their shirts off. So that was the what?
What did you do?
I sat there. But like I said, I was
can
talking.
Just picture him sitting there like Forrest Gump on the bench, with his little hands in his lap.
That's basically how it was. Now look, see, one of the girls, she took her scrub top off. Again, sports bra, it was fine, but she took her scrub top off, and all the other girls, practiced palpating structures on her. But there were like 1 or 2 females that didn't participate, so we just sat and talked and was like, okay, we reviewed basically. But man, that was the awkward experience for this week.
That's a tough scenario. Like, yeah. I'm not blaming you at all for that. It's just like, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm with Camper. You were in a pickle there, and you were in a lose-lose.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. There's no way to win in that situation. So we're gonna move into I think everybody's favorite individual segment of the week is What the Freak.
All right.
This must be a good one.
sign.
I would say this must be a good one.
This has been a segment that I have thoroughly enjoyed. I love getting stuff off my chest without other people touching it, of course. But unlike Cody.
I'll touch it.
Okay, no thanks. But some of these segments do run longer. because either I have a lot of hate or I have a lot of haters who disagree with me. So this one, I want to keep short. This is something that I am thoroughly disgusted by. And I want to take this time to just set the record straight so that anyone who comes in contact with me in the future knows that how I feel about these things, because this is something that I find socially awkward to communicate in real time, I guess. But I cannot stand long fingernails. Especially on guys, like
Yeah,
girls.
yeah.
Obviously, you know, they spend a lot more attention on those, and but I had a run-in with someone today who I was exchanging. What'd I buy? I went to a convenience store and I bought like a lemonade or something. But I was giving the guy money to pay for my drink, and next thing I see, this dude is digging through the cash register, getting his hands, getting all the coins, getting the dollar bills, and he extends the money, and the only thing I see is the long fingernails.
Did they touch you?
And it like in that moment, this is what I'm talking about. This is where it is just awkward for me to bring it up because in a perfect world, in a perfect world, he wouldn't have long fingernails, but in an ideal world, he would just lay the money down so that our hands wouldn't have to touch, and I would just pick the money up. But like the most common scenario is when you go in for a handshake with someone, especially a friend, and they have long fingernails, and you know, I don't care if it's dirty or if it's clean underneath, I just cannot stand it. But when you're going for the handshake, you've already committed, right? If you are looking at their hand and they're extending for it, it's too late.
That's when you act like there's a fly or a bug on the counter and just like smack it, like be like, oh, like get out of there.
But I can't stand it on other people. I can't stand it on myself. If my fingernails have white showing on them, like any more than a millimeter, that's too long for me and I have to cut it. And if I see it on someone else, I can deal with that. But if it gets longer, like even say like a quarter of an inch, I don't know if that's long, but
That's very long.
Yeah,
Okay.
a quarter of an inch. Wow.
I don't know, maybe an eighth of an inch. I don't know, but I mean, if there is noticeably amount of the large like nail that's extending past your actual finger, like I'm thinking about it all night that I'm in the same room with this person in, and it's just like bro, like do you own a pair of nail clippers? Like I can't stand it. Do you guys feel the same or what?
I do.
I feel this. Yeah, I feel the same way. Like even on a female, like okay, so they like to grow their nails out. They like to have fake nails. That's fine. But even on a female,
Well,
you can get excessive on the nail growth.
you can get excessive, but you want the females to be a little bit longer. Like I like Debbie's like a little bit longer when she scratches my head or something, you know, because that feels really good.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
I don't want her
See-
the tips of her fingers going through my hair like that. I don't want nubs in my
Okay.
hair.
Yeah.
Let's not move past that too quick. This may just be from me not being married and having someone to scratch my head, but I don't like the thought of having anyone touch my head with their fingernails.
No,
Well, maybe that'll change when you get married.
Just-
I-
I'm pretty sure it's
I
gonna
don't think
change.
so.
I've had
I'm
fe-
very,
I've
I'm
had-
very
Well, you're gonna
repulsed by
stay
that.
single for the rest of your life because women actually like doing that.
I would say I've had females play with my hair before, and it feels great, Camper. Great.
There's-
But,
I feel
back on the
scratch
topic-
there's from time to time, it's amazing.
Like
if my hair was long enough, then that's cool, like to play with it. But I'm not gonna have.
Yeah,
that
Camper
long hair.
does have really
But
short hair.
scratching my head. Please don't touch my head with your fingernails.
Okay, well.
buddy, please.
Getting back on topic, like males with long fingernails, like I don't get that. And you,
No, I
like,
don't either.
we've had a friend, Cody. You and I have had a friend that had long fingernails, that is in the music, industry, whatever, music major, and like he would just sit there and tap them on the counter,
Oh
and like
no!
Yeah.
It felt like I was in a scene of a scary movie or something. Like,
And see, and his fingernails came in, useful, I guess, because he had to pick the strings on the guitar or whatever. But
If only they made something that you could pick the strings of a guitar
yeah,
with.
it's called a pick.
well, he needed
Well,
he needed all 5 of them, I think.
Yeah. I don't know who you're talking about, but a classical guitar you pick with, you're supposed to have long fingernails.
Well,
Yeah.
too bad that they're.
And that's
they're
what it was. It was classical guitar.
well,
so.
that's still awful.
But look, here's my take. I'm in agreement with Brandon and Cody really here. Kind of in between. I really, to be honest with you, I hate having long fingernails. Like personally,
Yes.
mine grow. I don't bite my fingernails. I
Good,
never
that's
have,
nasty.
But mine
It is.
grow. I feel like they grow really quickly because I have to clip them like once a week.
It's about normal.
Yeah, that's
I'm the same
Okay.
way.
average human.
But I usually end up waiting about a week and a half. So, you do end up seeing some white on them, which I don't know if y'all can see them here, but that's about as long as they get on me, as long as I let them get anyway. But I cannot stand long fingernails. And like y'all were saying, like even Ashlyn, hers stay pretty short relatively, but women can get like excessively long, and it's just gross at a certain point.
You said that you were
Especially
with
if they
me
don't-
and Cody, but you literally agree with all of us.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm not sure why I left you out.
But see, not
Yes.
only are long fingernails themselves disgusting, but like when the person who possesses these long fingernails does not keep their fingernails like clean, when you can see visible dirt underneath it, and like in the
Well-
little crease between the
And just-
the sides,
and if there's
of the
dirt
finger
that's
and
in
the s-
Just think about
Yeah.
like the using the bathroom or something. Like if they don't, like if that stuff stays in there, like think of the contents.
yeah, because you
feel
know those
like-
folks with long fingernails don't wash their hands. You know they don't.
If your fingernails are long enough that stuff can get under them, they're too long.
Okay, so
Clip them.
exactly, Spicy. So imagine someone who does have long fingernails and takes the time to clean them up so there is no dirt. It's like, man, just clip them. Like what is your thought process for keeping them long? Or are you trying to impress somebody or what? I just don't understand.
It falls in the same
But-
category as fake eyelashes or long eyelashes.
See, I
I
don't
don't like
know.
those at all.
Okay,
I haven't
yeah.
really put
Those
too much
weird me
thought
out.
into those.
I don't have much opinions on that, but
Yeah,
I'm
same.
glad that we all agree on the fingernails. I will draw the line though. I take a very staunch opinion here that saying that if you touch me with your fingernail on if you touch my head, if my arm, my hand, I mean, that should be punishable by death. I just
All
going
in
to
agreement
hate you
that this
for the
will
rest
change
of
when
my
he gets a
life.
girlfriend. Say I.
Oh, not true. No. There have been
It
plenty
will.
of people that I know that say, please do not touch my hair. Or it's just something that someone doesn't like. and I just, that's something that I don't like. I am vehemently opposed to having fingernails touch my head. I cannot.
All in
no.
favor of touching
They
his
make-
head whenever he gets back home. Say I. I.
So fingers are. I mean, I'm not gonna go and ask somebody to touch my head with their finger, but you're not scratching my head with your fingernail. I will punch you in the gut.
I'm growing my fingernails out just so I can touch your scalp with it.
Salad fingers.
Ugh.
Ooh. All right.
But that's my topic. If you ever come into contact with me in the future and you have long fingernails, then you know that then you know why I am your enemy and I hate you. So if you plan on seeing me in the future, please invest in some nail clippers. That's all I got.
Well, Camper, thank you for that riveting What the Freak installment there. So that rounds out the podcast, actually. So we're gonna do a few plugs here. Brandon, what are you gonna plug?
Oh yeah, mine is the My Training app that I just installed on my phone today. If you work out or do anything like that, it keeps track of your sets, reps, all that kind of stuff, and you can add friends for support. So if you're into that kind of thing, it's pretty cool. So check that out.
Camper, what you got?
My plug for this week is, and me and Brandon did not sit at the same table and talk about what we were going to talk about. This is just complete coincidence, but I am plugging not cold showers, but I am plugging ice baths and cold therapy because I did go hiking twice. That makes 2 times in the past 3 years or so, all in 1 week. So as I was walking down, I knew my knees and my ankles and even my quads would be sore the next day. So what I did was I looked up some cold therapy options and essentially just poured a bunch of ice in a bathtub with some cold water, sat in it for 15 minutes until I couldn't feel the bottom half of my body. And I have been great. I did that 3 times this past week, and I will be doing it a lot of times in the future. But not to not to wash myself.
Real quick, that's how it feels
warm
every time I
showers.
take a shower. Just saying.
What? No. Wow. Well, all
Nobody
right.
invited you. Go away.
But even if you do ice packs or something, do that for 15 minutes if you're sore, like you got a sore knee, a bad knee, or you just did a workout or something. That really helps. So at least in my opinion, some people disagree with that therapy. But that's my plug.
Nice. Jake Lee, what are you gonna plug?
Plugging my, well, not just mine, but Columbia rain jackets. They're amazing. It's come in very useful since Mississippi has turned into a rainforest.
Yeah.
I've worn it every day, and it's kept me dry from this
Well-
very moist weather.
He's so passionate about it, he's doing hand gestures.
Yeah. Well, we
I'm,
we
pointing,
are.
I'm pointing out this window behind me because it's open. Well, there's blinds
No.
in front of it, as you can see.
Okay. Well, we are like a humid subtropical climate, so I mean, rainforest isn't too far off.
Well, I had thought about that, but I feel like we're literally a rainforest.
We are like the humidity is
Well,
like humidity.
I'm picturing like the Amazon. Like it rains every day.
Humidity in Mississippi is always like 307%. So we're
Well,
basically
science doesn't matter right now. It
Somewhere
rains
in there.
every day now, so that's all that matters. So shout out, plugging Columbia rain jackets. If you don't have one, go get a Columbia rain jacket. They sell them at Belk.
nice. Well, I'm going to plug the Home Depot, right? So in Meridian, we do not have a Meridian does not have a Home Depot, but Jackson does have a Home Depot, and I went there the other day to buy a power drill and like a metal bristle head for it to clean off some metal patio furniture, right? That's been rusted. And we'll repaint it. But I just wanted to give a shout out. Gonna plug off Home Depot for hooking me up with that. All right.
Sweet.
So we have some announcements for all of you good people out there. Camper, why don't you talk a little bit about the blog?
Yeah, so just briefly, I will be writing a blog. You'll be hearing this. If you're subscribed to us, hopefully you're hearing this on Tuesday. We should release the blog later in the week. Our plan is for Thursday. I'm currently writing it now. I'll have someone look over it when I'm done because I make a ton of mistakes. But I'm looking forward to you guys looking at this blog and giving me some feedback on what you think. So be looking for that later on in the week.
All right. Brandon, do you have an announcement for the good people?
Yeah. If you like our content, like what we're putting out, like what we're saying, if you could just leave us a review. We'll be sure to each week go over one review that's been left. Also, if you haven't yet subscribed, if you aren't subscribed to us, please do that because you get early access to our episodes early on Tuesday. So if you haven't yet, subscribe.
All right. And if you're listening to this and you haven't subscribed or you haven't liked or you haven't left a review and you want to, and you may be asking yourself, well, how do I do that? Well, you just go right on to your Facebook app or your your computer, type in facebook.com and like our page. It is the Squad Life Podcast. Or you can follow us on the Twitter at _Squad Life. And if you do like what we have been putting out, if you've been tracking with us this whole time, go ahead and tell your friends, tell your family, let them know. If you've been entertained, maybe they want to be entertained also. And we would appreciate that. All right, and if there are no other comments, rebuttals, or questions, we're going to round out the podcast here. Jake, hit them with a see ya.